This is the Spiritual Muscle Podcast with your hosts, Scott Hayward and Cory B.
What's up, guys? This is the Spiritual Muscle Podcast. I'm your host, Cory Beaver.
Hey, I'm Scott Hayward.
And we're going to talk today a little bit about the fitness world and what's going on with COVID-19, what's going on with the cleanliness and what you can expect. Also about some of the gyms that have closed down and what it's going to be like finding a new place to go work out. And we're also going to give you a little bit of a spiritual minute later on with some insight from not only the Bible verse, but a little bit of how we feel about you getting yourself into shape with mind, body, and spirit. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start today talking to Scott, who works over at ABS. He's the lead fitness coach there, and he has a few things to say about the fitness world and what's going on with COVID-19.
Well, it's a different world than the one that we were living in March, 15th. It's almost 3.5 months later, and it doesn't even look like the world that we had back in March. Several big brands or several big institutions, gyms have closed down or filed for bankruptcy. Gold's Gym being one of them.
Yeah, that's big.
They're sort of they were always the gold standard. They were out in front. They were the first.
Yeah.
And they will forever be, equated to, Arnold Schwarzenegger and the golden day of bodybuilding.
Yeah. And
they filed for chapter 11. Anytime Fitness, they've filed. 24-hour Fitness, they've filed.
Man.
So we've had a lot of casualties and damage based off of COVID-19. I guess the biggest thing to say is, we need to be vigilant, and the people out there need to be vigilant when you're going to these gyms and hoping that they're doing what they need to be doing as far as cleanliness and preparing a safe and, germ-free environment for its members.
Yeah, I think that's on a lot of people's minds right now, is that everyone's kind of worried about the cleanliness, trying to find a new gym after they've become comfortable with the gym that they were at, whether it was a 24-hour or Gold's or even just a local gym for you. It could have been something that a lot of people are now thinking about that they didn't think would be one of the downfalls of this epidemic or this pandemic. So yeah, it's kind of good, and I guess at the same time, it's going to help at least people get into the world, I think, with better personal training, get away from some of these big gyms, the CrossFit gyms, things like that. What are your thoughts on that? Some of these big box gyms, I guess we call them.
Well, the big box gyms, and I'm sure somewhere exists a clean one. The ones I've ever seen, they're dusty, dirty, and cleanliness is definitely not next to godliness when it comes to those places. But, those, speaking about CrossFit, they're experiencing some different challenges. I've never been a big fan of their model. I don't believe in their science or lack thereof. I believe that it's very, very difficult to watch a room of 20 or 30 exercisers and correct form and watch progressions and work with movement patterns. But they have some significant challenges aside from their lack of cleanliness.
Yeah.
They I'm not sure, did you hear about the George Floyd comment? Rest in peace, George Floyd. Their CEO or president of CrossFit made some disparaging remarks right after George Floyd's, less than fortunate murder.
Yeah.
By the hands of that police officer.
What did he say?
Well, the CEO or president of CrossFit said first, we've been dealt the hand of COVID-19. Now we're dealing with Floyd 19. I just think it was a very, if it was an attempt at humor, it was a poor one. I think that, I think the people have spoken. You have a lot of CrossFit affiliates that have pulled their support for the brand.
Yeah.
I think that you are seeing people say, you know what, that's not what we're about. That's not owners of the affiliates. That's not what we're about. We don't want to represent a brand that would be so cruel and heartless and unfeeling. It's such a sensitive time in our nation.
Yeah, very insensitive. That's the word I was thinking of.
It's a shame. You know, like I said, I've never been a big fan of their science or lack thereof, but they missed the mark on another important thing. In addition to being just human and worrying about another human's life, they couldn't be more wrong when it comes to fitness. You know, fitness, it knows no race. It knows no socioeconomic. It is not a respecter of persons. When you get into fitness, whatever you put into it, that's exactly what you're getting out of it.
Yeah.
You can't pay someone else to get fit for you. You can't halfway through your workouts. You can't give a half effort. So whatever you put in, that's exactly what you're going to get out. Doesn't matter if you have a PhD or a GED. Doesn't matter if you're a captain of industry or a minimum wage worker. Fitness is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Because you only get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And I mean, I guess what you can expect when somebody's going to make an insensitive comment like that, it's why would they want to, I guess, think about any of their clients any more than they're thinking about that situation in such an insensitive way. So I guess personally I would disconnect with that to say I'm going to go to a CrossFit gym and I'm not going to get the treatment that I want or be thought of as more than just another number in the system, another statistic to them, at least when they say something, you know, of that kind of relevance to a situation that was so big and important in the last few weeks for a lot of people. And a lot of this movement is about coming together and understanding. And when someone says something like that, it just doesn't represent understanding, in my opinion.
None whatsoever. What it represents is ignorance.
Yeah.
You know, if we can just start to accept each other for our differences, we solve a lot of our own problems.
Yeah, and I'm somebody that's kind of big on, you know, you can always be forgiven. You know, even in the Bible they preach that a lot. Everybody should be forgiven for your sins. Everybody should, be understanding towards your fellow humans and the rest of the world and fellow creatures. But I guess going into the next topic for that, it's if you were to switch to a gym and want to get something that wasn't, you know, just so, I guess, big box, you could go to a gym, say like Applied Body Science, which is where you work at, and the way you have set up the system is to be much more inclusive and personable for the client, and not just to try and get more money out of them or more sessions or get bigger classes just for the hype of it. You're actually working individually with your clients, getting them that personalized exercise and fitness plan that they need. And I think that's honestly a really cool thing, if you want to talk about that for a minute.
You know, when I first set up Applied Body Science, I made the error, or I had the good fortune to say, you know what, we're going to do one-on-one training, one instructor, one client. We're not going to call it small group and put 4 to 6 people. We're not going to call it a semi-private and put 3 to 4 people. It's a private. It's one-on-one. This is not a cookie cutter approach to fitness, hence the big box gyms that stack them, pack them, and rack them 15 or 20 people deep. And varying levels, varying contraindications, past injuries you got to take into consideration. There's no way that can be done in a class of 20 or more people.
Yeah.
One-on-one, it's goal-oriented, and it's success driven. And what I mean by that is everyone has walked a different walk.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, your experience with fitness is not the same as mine. Mine is not the same as the 72-year-old grandmother. Everyone wants to get something different from it. Yeah, sure, a lot of people, it's merely aesthetics and appearances.
Yeah.
But some people just want to be able to get more out of their life, whether it's playing with their grandchildren, whether it's being able to help their spouse by carrying in a case or two of water from Costco, whether it's not fatiguing so quick and being able to get through their day. Everyone's reason for wanting to be fit and their path is going to be different. It's a lot like the Christian walk, to be very honest with you. No two people work out their salvation the same way.
Yeah. And I think a big thing a lot of people think is that when you say something like that, that they're thinking you're pointing them out, you're making them feel like an outsider, and it's really not. It's to say you can go be fit and be the person you want to be in any which way you'd like, and that's okay. You don't have to follow the trends. You don't have to just follow what you see in the news or what your best friend tells you about. Go try it. It might not be for you, and when that happens, you don't need to feel alone. You don't need to feel like you have to just let yourself bend to just only approaching that because your friends or people in your life seem to like it. You can still be who you are, an individual with your own individual choices and your own individual likenesses, and that can come down to fitness. Sometimes I think people think it shouldn't be like that. They think I'd rather just go to a class because all my friends are there, but really you might not be getting the best experience, and the best experience might be the very next place you try. And I feel like a place like Applied Body Science is somewhere for a lot of the people. When I spend a lot of time there, I talk to a lot of people, and it seems like they've gone and tried just about everything, and now they're there and they've been there for a while, and they absolutely love the approach you guys take.
Well, we pride ourselves in delivering results. That's the first and foremost. The second thing is we take a scientific approach to everything we do, and in doing so, we minimize chance and risk of injury. Number two, we get them the results. And number three, we actually teach them what it is and why it is, so they're able to replicate this, whether it's they're on vacation for 2 weeks, they're going to go exercise in the hotel or the club or the spa or wherever they may be. So now they actually have some semblance of knowledge of why we're doing what we're doing, how we're doing it, and what purpose does everything serve.
Yeah. And even, I don't know if it's it's still a big box gym, but because they don't always offer a lot of personal training, I even look at places like Planet Fitness, and the few times I've been in there, the only direction you have is a couple printed examples of the exercises on the machine itself. Really, there's no way to know if your technique is going to be good. I've seen plenty of people hurt themselves just doing, benching just in a place like that because they don't have really the guidance to get the right exercise and the right way of doing the workouts, the right knowledge for it. And sometimes it seems like that's really what can be the biggest deciding factor for me, is knowing if I'm going to be able to take that home and utilize it in my free time, and take some of the knowledge from somebody and be able to work on that myself. That's a big plus.
Well, Planet Fitness differs from what we offer in two ways. Number one, they basically rent equipment to their members on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
They rent availability of equipment. As far as good, sound, science-based exercise physiology instruction, no. That's not what they're there for.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Not everyone's the same. We differ from them in that respect. And then the other respect we differ from them, they claim they're the no judgment zone.
No judgment zone, yeah.
Well, you know what? We are the judgment zone. And we as an organization, we judge ourselves by the highest of standards each and every day, each and every hour, each and every client. Am I giving that client, A, what they need, and B, what they deserve? And what they deserve is the highest level of instruction. And if we fail on either one of those two prongs, you know what? We'll judge ourselves and we'll grade ourselves at an F.
Well, I will personally say I don't think I've ever seen anyone come out of ABS not at least satisfied with the workout they got. I will say I've been there, like I said, quite a few times, and man, I've gotten some awesome testimonials about and not even just the trainers, but I mean the knowledge that they're picking up from you guys. You guys went to school, you guys went and got degrees in this stuff. You're not somebody that just quickly, I think you were even mentioning earlier with CrossFit, that people can basically be a CrossFit trainer in a month and be, giving you instruction and have really no background in it. And for me, that's a little scary to think people like that are going to be dictating your not only safety, but your health and your fitness.
With so many certification mills and diploma mills out there, the metric I use: A, do you have a degree? B, do you have experience? C, do you have advanced degrees or certifications that work with biomechanics, exercise physiology, anatomy, nutrition or sports nutrition? And I'm sad to say, the majority of fitness facilities out there don't match up with that.
Yeah.
Several of us have master's degrees that work at ABS. Everyone has an undergraduate degree. It's just something I feel very, very adamant about, that, you wouldn't go to a doctor unless he had a degree or he was a specialist.
True. Unless you're in some third world country where that might be a little bit more sparse. But yeah, I wouldn't trust my health with somebody that's anything other than a complete professional.
If I'm not going to feel comfortable having my mother, my sister, my daughter, or my wife train somewhere with someone, then I wouldn't want to train your mother, sister, wife, or daughter. I want people to get what they need, and that's good, sound, quality instruction that's science-based.
Yeah. Well, I think this is as good of a place as any to go ahead and drop an ad here. I think if you guys are looking for the place that you need to start working out at, you're looking for something to get away from the Planet Fitnesses and the CrossFit gyms and these big box gyms, and you want a more personable one-on-one approach, AppliedBodyScience.net is the place to go. You're going to get not only the great training that you're looking for, but you're going to get knowledge, you're going to get meal plans, you're going to get everything that you're looking for when it comes to fitness. You're going to get a well-rounded experience, and these guys are the best of the best. So AppliedBodyScience.net, send them a message, schedule your consultation and your training sessions today.
Fitness permeates every other aspect of your life. You want to be a better husband, a better wife, a better parent. When you feel better about yourself, that translates to every other relationship that you have.
Yeah.
You get more out of each and every day when you have high energy. You're not feeling sluggish. You're not feeling badly about yourself. You feel good about yourself. You have high energy, and you're actually able to help somebody else.
No, it's a cool feeling. I can imagine it's a really cool feeling. Especially, I'm more of a performance artist myself, but yeah, just being able to give somebody what they're looking for, I feel like is a very, very important piece of the entire journey for a lot of people, especially in the professional world. You got to be able to get somebody else's vision across to know that they're going to be happy walking out that door later that day. Yeah, I think that was pretty awesome. You want to talk about the spiritual minute? Maybe give a little bit of the insight into what the Bible says about the fitness a little bit.
Well, it says in 1 Timothy, for physical training is of some value. Let's stop the verse right there. If it had no value, it wouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
We weren't looking for a filler to put into 1 Timothy to make it go on a little longer. For physical training is of some value. The verse goes on to say, but that which is spiritual has everlasting benefits. So it's not only that we're strengthening our bodies, strengthening our resolve, it's also that we're strengthening our faith.
Yeah.
And faith is just like any other muscle. You put your faith under taxing, under trials or tribulations, that God will see you through, and it strengthens your faith the same way that your chest or your back or your legs get strengthened when you put it under the taxing of weights or resistance of some sort. So the two, the walk of faith and the walk of fitness, are more closely related than they are not related.
No, that's awesome. Honestly, I think that's a big thing for a lot of people too, is to know that you can have so much belief in something, but until you're honestly just full of having faith with it as well, and your mind, body, and spirit, kind of like you're saying, and working at it, and just knowing that it's going to be okay in the end. Because you can believe these things as much as you want, but you can also be, some people call themselves realistic or whatever, and just say, oh, but I don't know if I'll ever accomplish that. And I'm like, you got to have faith to be able to get there. It's a big part of it, and I think at least like you're saying, it's very important to be able to have faith in your life, your body, your mind, and all of it can be a workout, not just your muscles and what's pumping blood from the heart to those pieces, but the rest of it.
Well, and the other thing is, as a Christian, our Christian walk and our duty is to get others and help them and to go ahead and be Christ-like and be a disciple of Christ. Let me ask you a question. Would you want to join a team that everyone looked sickly or downtrodden or low energy? No, I don't want to be on that team.
No way.
I want to be on the team where people are full of energy and people are smiling and they're high energy and they're willing to go the extra mile. I mean, that's what's going to help recruit people into a Christian, walk of faith.
Yeah, and I think it's contagious too. When it comes down to, a lot of people think they're isolated again. They think they're alone, and they don't get that motivation behind them. I think you find a few people, even if it takes a little bit of, a little bit of chance out there to take some risks to get out and talk to people and meet some people. You'll start to find that there's a lot of people out there that have the exact same goals you might have, and they can be the person a year, 2 years, even 5, 10 years from now that are picking you up in some of your dark times, and also you might be doing that for them, and they're just going to become somebody that you can legitimately rely on to be there and help maintain that faith, I think.
Amen.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think this was a great first episode for the podcast. Thanks to Scott and Applied Body Science for sponsoring all these videos. We're going to have some more episodes of Spiritual Muscle coming in the next couple weeks. What did you want to talk about on the next one? You want to talk about maybe why women should resistance train?
I would love that.
Awesome.
There's been a negative connotation with women in resistance training for years and years. They don't want to get muscle bound. There was a belief that it would, hurt their flexibility, and none of those things can be further from the truth. Not only does it help with, stopping the potential onset of osteoporosis, but it also helps with body composition, and it also helps with keeping some of the hormones post-menopause at bay.
No, that's good. And I have definitely heard a lot of, not just women. I mean, we were talking about this subject the other day, me and you, when we were discussing some ideas for these podcasts. But I swear there's endless benefits for resistance training, not just, for women, but for everybody. But I think particularly for women because, other than some of the obvious ones like giving birth and menopause, there's just a lot of emotional reasons that people could, benefit from these things. And I think sometimes men are kind of the typical, vision of fitness, but there's a lot of amazing women in the world of fitness and they don't get enough credit. And I think, again, it's just having faith and having support that I hope we'll be able to bring that out of a lot of women out there that get the chance to hear the podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Cory.
I'm Scott.
And we'll see you guys on episode 2 of the Spiritual Muscle Podcast.